In this section, we are going to review the performance, features and specifications of the AMD Radeon RX 7600, a mid-range GPU that is rumored to launch very soon. The RX 7600 is based on the RDNA 3 architecture, which promises a significant boost in efficiency and performance over the previous generation. The RX 7600 is expected to compete with NVIDIA's RTX 4060 and RTX 4060 Ti, which are also rumored to launch soon. The RX 7600 will reportedly feature 32 compute units, 2048 stream processors, and 8 GB of GDDR6 memory on a 128-bit bus. It will also have 32 MB of infinity cache, a feature that helps reduce memory bandwidth bottlenecks and improve performance. The RX 7600 will have a single 8-pin power connector and a TDP of around 130W, which is similar to the RX 6600 from the previous generation. One of the main selling points of the RX 7600 is its ray tracing capabilities. Ray tracing is a technique that simulates realistic lighting effects by tracing the path of light rays in a scene. Ray tracing can create stunning visuals, but it also requires a lot of computational power. AMD introduced ray tracing support with its RDNA 2 GPUs, but they were not as fast or efficient as NVIDIA's RTX GPUs, which have dedicated hardware for ray tracing called RT cores. The RX 7600 is expected to improve on AMD's ray tracing performance with its RDNA 3 architecture, which allegedly has improved ray tracing cores and better optimization for DirectX ray tracing, DXR, and Vulkan ray tracing, VKR, APIs. According to some rumors, the RX 7600 will be able to match or even surpass the RTX 3060 Ti in ray tracing performance, which would be a huge achievement for AMD. Another aspect of the RX 7600 that we are going to review is its power consumption and cooling system. As we mentioned earlier, the RX 7600 will have a TDP of around 130W, which is relatively low for a modern GPU. This means that the RX 7600 will not require a lot of power or generate a lot of heat, which is good for your electricity bill and your system stability. However, the actual power consumption and cooling performance of the RX 7600 will depend on the specific model and design of the card. Different manufacturers will have different clock speeds, fan profiles, and cooling solutions for their RX 7600 cards. For example, Sapphire has leaked some images of its Pulse series Radeon RX 7600 card, which features a dual-fan cooler with a black and red color scheme. Other manufacturers like Osrock, MSI, and Asus will also have their own versions of the RX 7600 with different features and aesthetics. The best way to evaluate the power consumption and cooling system of the RX 7600 is to wait for some benchmarks and reviews from reputable sources. We will also try to get our hands on some RX 7600 cards and test them ourselves in various games and applications. We will compare them with other GPUs in the same price range and see how they perform in terms of FPS, temperatures, noise levels, and power draw. That concludes our review of the performance, features and specifications of the AMD Radeon RX 7600. This GPU looks like a promising option for gamers who want to enjoy high-quality graphics at 1080p or even 1440p resolution without breaking the bank. The RX 7600 could be the best cheap graphics card available when it launches, but we will have to wait and see how it fares against NVIDIA's upcoming RTX 4060 and RTX 4060 Ti cards. Stay tuned for more updates on the AMD Radeon RX 7600 and other graphics cards news. The AMD Radeon RX 7600 is one of the most anticipated graphics cards of 2023, as it promises to deliver solid 1080p gaming performance at an affordable price. But is it a bad deal or a sensible option for gamers who want to upgrade their rigs? Let's take a look at the pros and cons of buying the RX 7600, such as its availability, value for money and future-proofing. One of the main advantages of the RX 7600 is that it is based on the RDNA 3 architecture, which is AMD's latest and most advanced GPU design. RDNA 3 offers a significant improvement over RDNA 2 in terms of performance, efficiency and features. According to AMD, RDNA 3 can deliver up to 25% more performance per watt than RDNA 2, which means that the RX 7600 can run faster and cooler than its predecessor, the RX 6600. Another benefit of the RX 7600 is that it comes with 8 GB of VRAM and 32 MB of Infinity Cache, which are ample amounts for 1080p gaming. VRAM is the memory that stores the graphics data that the GPU needs to render images on the screen, while Infinity Cache is a high-speed cache that reduces the bandwidth demand on the VRAM. Having enough VRAM and Infinity Cache can prevent stuttering and lagging in games that use high-resolution textures and complex effects. The RX 7600 also supports some of the latest technologies that can enhance your gaming experience, such as ray tracing, Fidelity FX Super Resolution, FSR, and Smart Access Memory, SAM. Ray tracing is a technique that simulates realistic lighting and shadows in games, creating more immersive and realistic visuals. FSR is AMD's answer to NVIDIA's DLSS, which is a technology that upscales lower-resolution images to higher-resolution ones using artificial intelligence, boosting performance and image quality. SAM is a feature that allows the CPU to access the full VRAM of the GPU, improving performance in some games. However, the RX 7600 is not without its drawbacks. One of the main disadvantages of the RX 7600 is that it has a relatively narrow memory bus of 128-bit, which limits its memory bandwidth to 256 GB per second. This means that the RX 7600 may struggle to keep up with more demanding games at higher settings or resolutions, especially when ray tracing is enabled. For comparison, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 Ti has a memory bus of 256-bit and a memory bandwidth of 448 GB per second. Another drawback of the RX 7600 is that it may not be very future-proof, as newer games may require more VRAM and memory bandwidth than what it can offer. For instance, some games like Cyberpunk 2077 already recommend having at least 10 GB of VRAM for ray tracing at 1080p. Moreover, NVIDIA is expected to launch its RTX 4060 Ti and RTX 4060 cards soon, which may offer better performance and features than the RX 7600 at similar or lower prices. The last con of the RX 7600 is that it may not be easy to find or buy one at its suggested retail price of $299, about £260, 490 Australian dollars. Due to the ongoing global chip shortage and high demand for GPUs, many graphics cards are being sold out quickly or marked up by scalpers and retailers. The RX 7600 may face the same fate as its predecessors, which are still hard to find at reasonable prices months after their launch. So, should you buy the AMD Radeon RX 7600? The answer depends on your budget, expectations, and needs. If you are looking for a decent graphics card that can run most games at high settings and 60 frames per second at 1080p, and you don't mind sacrificing some image quality or performance in more demanding titles or when using ray tracing, then the RX 7600 may be a sensible option for you. However, if you want a more future-proof graphics card that can handle higher resolutions or settings, or you want to enjoy the full benefits of ray tracing and other technologies, then you may want to wait for NVIDIA's RTX 4060 Ti or RTX 4060 cards, or save up for a higher-end GPU like the RX 7700 XT or RTX 4070.